elder sister was a heartless creature. She cared little for her father, but pretended otherwise. She was the kind of person who knew what she wanted and was determined to get it. So she too told the old man just what she knew he wanted to hear. "No one in this whole wide world, my dearest king and my dearest papa," she said, "is dearer to me than you are, or ever could be."
The king was deeply moved and enchanted by her sweet, loving words, and so at once gave to Regan as well another third of his kingdom.
Cordelia, the youngest and always the old king's most cherished daughter, had been listening all the while to her sister's honeyed words, which she knew to be false, intended only to deceive and dupe her father. She understood only too well that her sisters had one thing only in mind, and it was not love for their father, nor concern for his well-being. They wanted as soon as possible to rule in the kingdom in the place of their father.
"And you, dearest Cordelia," said the old king, fully expecting from her just as effusive a declaration of love and loyalty, "tell me truly, now as your sisters have, how much do you love your old father?"
But Cordelia was not going to compete with her sister's weasel words. They disgusted her. She would speak plain, as she always did. "Papa," she began, "I love you as well as a daughter should always love a father, and I love you as my king because it is my duty to do so."
At this, the old king was hurt by her response, and then instantly angry with her. "Is that all you have to say, daughter?" he raged. "You will have to do better than that if you want your share of my kingdom."
Cordelia could only speak truth. That's how she was. "You have always loved me, Papa," she explained, "and I have always loved you, obeyed you as my father, and honoured you as my king. I do not love you for what wealth and power you might grant me. I love you because you are my father."
This should have been enough for any father, but not for the old king. He was beside himself with fury now, quite unable to distinguish between Cordelia's quiet sincerity and the flowery flattery of her scheming sisters. In a fit of pique, he now declared that the third of his kingdom he had been keeping for Cordelia would now be divided between Goneril and Regan, and that Cordelia would have nothing.
In front of the whole court,
consumed by his anger,
the old king gave away to his two scheming daughters and their husbands
his crown,
his throne,
and all the land and power and authority that went with them,
the raising of taxes,
and all the kingly reins of government.
In doing this, everyone understood he was abdicating his entire kingdom there and then, resigning all his royal powers and reserving to himself only one right:
to keep about him a retinue that befitted a king, 100 of his favourite courtiers and servants and guards.
And all this was on condition that his two elder daughters would promise to look after him in his old age, that he should be able to stay with each of them in turn. 1 month with Goneril and her husband, the Duke of Albany, in their castle, and then 1 month with Regan and the Duke of Cornwall in theirs. The two sisters were, of course, more than happy to accept this deal and to agree with all the terms their father demanded. They promised faithfully to look after him and to welcome him warmly into their homes. Everyone else in the court who were witnessing all this simply stood there aghast at what the old king was doing, stunned to silence. No one dared to speak up against the king in his anger, except one. His best friend and ever-loyal chief counsellor, the Earl of Kent, had been like a son to the old king.